Good morning, church. Glad to have you with us. My name is Dave, and I'm on staff at Community Christian Church at Carillon. In recent weeks, our Monday morning get-togethers have been focusing on virtues, specifically the four cardinal virtues: wisdom, forbearance, justice, and courage, and the three theological virtues: faith, hope, and love. Well, I think it's about time we got back to talking about sin. Sin is a big topic, and I don't plan to deal with all of it in the next 3 minutes, but I do want to draw your attention to one interesting aspect of what we call sin. The Hebrew words translated as sin in our Old Testament are shatath, meaning offense, and chata, meaning to miss. Interestingly, the same is true of the New Testament, which was written in another language, in Greek. The word sin is used to translate hamartia, which means transgression, and hamartano, which means to miss the mark. I find this to be rather revealing. In our Bible, sin is seen as two things: an offense against God and missing the mark. And at least to me, those two ways of looking at sin seem significantly different. Sin that is missing the mark is simply behavior that fails in its objective. The intent is to be virtuous. The sin consists of failing to reach that goal. The goal is good, but the one who sins just can't quite manage to accomplish it. And doesn't that perfectly describe most of the sin in our lives? We don't get up in the morning and say to ourselves, I wonder what I can do today that'll really offend God, really tick him off. I'm going to show God that I'm his enemy today. No, it doesn't happen that way. Instead, we get up and we try, really try, to be good, to please God, to exhibit all those wonderful virtues. We strive to be generous and kind and forgiving and compassionate, and we fail. We give it a shot, but we miss the mark. For most of us, most of the time, sin isn't where we want to go, it's just where we always seem to wind up. You know, one of the most encouraging things the Apostle Paul ever wrote, in my opinion, is his description of his own struggle with sin. The passage in which he says that what he wants to do, he doesn't do. What does he do instead? The thing he doesn't want to do. I hear you, Paul. I hear you. Human beings are broken. Our nature is twisted. We can't be virtuous. We can try, and we must try every day. But we won't succeed. We will miss the mark. And that, my friends, is why God gives us grace. He didn't give us training sessions so that we could live up to his expectations. That wouldn't work. Perfection is not in our nature. And he doesn't lower his requirements and simply accept our transgressions. That wouldn't work either. Overlooking sin is not in his nature. But grace works. Grace works. Grace sees our intent, and grace understands our weakness, our inadequacy. Grace knows our aspirations, and grace knows our limitations. Grace is God knowing us completely and loving us anyway. Grace is Christ Jesus doing what is necessary to satisfy both God's justice and God's mercy. Thank God for grace. God bless you all.